Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 16th Muscatine City Council meeting. Thank you for coming. Fran, would you please do a roll call?
Councilmembers Ray Walt.
Present.
Fitzgerald.
Present.
Natfig.
Present.
Saucedo.
Present.
Bynum.
Present.
Harvey.
Present.
Spread.
Present.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you, Fran. Would you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Is there anyone here who would like to address council about something that's not already on the agenda tonight? Hearing nothing, we'll move right on to number 5 in our agenda, the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests it, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes items 6A through B, items 8A through F, items 9A, items 12A through D, and tonight's bills totaling $2,749,197.41?
So move, Your Honor.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with all ayes. We're going to move down to 9A on the agenda, which is a proclamation for National Garden Week. Whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the planting of seeds, the care of all plants, and the riches of their efforts, and whereas gardeners seek to add beauty, splendor, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives through the growing of herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flowers, and whereas gardeners work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiative through innovation and hard work, and whereas gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, that share our world and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology, and whereas gardening furnishes a challenging and productive activity for our citizens, for those just learning as well as those having years of experience, and whereas gardening promotes a healthy lifestyle that lasts a lifetime, helps reduce stress from other areas of our life, and teaches that rewards can come from diligent efforts, and whereas gardening enables members of garden clubs across the nation and the world, and in our community, in particular the Muscatine Garden Club, to make a world of difference in the communities where they reside and work. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Diana Broderson, Mayor of the City of Muscatine, Iowa, in an effort to acknowledge the importance of gardening and the numerous contributions of gardeners, do hereby join National Garden Clubs Incorporated in designating the week of June 5th through 11th, 2016 as National Garden Week. In witness thereof, thank you so much. And we have two people from the Muscatine Garden Club, Shirley and Janet, that I'd like to present this to.
Do they have last names?
Our fire chief slash photographer.
Janet's last.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, Janet.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I get Janet's last name?
Janet, would you please give Fran your last name?
Cardex. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along on the agenda. Item 7, public hearing. This public hearing concerns a proposed First Amendment to an option and lease agreement with Castle Towers 05 LLC for the cell tower located at Greenwood Cemetery. The original agreement for a 5-year period through October 14, 2005 provided for 4 5-year extensions, with the final extension expiring on October 14, 2025. This amendment provides for 6 additional 5-year extensions commencing October 15, 2025, with the final extension expiring October 14, 2055. Prior to any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. Now is the time for the public to comment. Any comments?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close the public hearing is approved with all ayes. 11A on the agenda. Resolution approving First Amendment to the option and lease agreement with Crown Castle Towers 05 LLC for their cell tower and equipment at Greenwood Cemetery. Is there a motion to approve or to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
Scott?
Fine.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Santos?
Aye.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11B, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution awarding the bid for the 2016 asphalt overlay project. 3 bids were received, with the low bid from Iowa Investment Incorporated in the amount of $630,803.64. There is $845,790.69 budgeted for this project. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Scott? Any discussion?
I do.
Santos?
It says we're using recycled is that recycled from last year, or is that recycling from what we're taking out as we're applying it?
I'm going to defer the question to Randy Howell.
Okay.
Good evening, Randy Howell, Public Works. What that is we use a 15% recycled. What they'll do is they'll mill our streets off. They will take the required asphalt millings to add that to that asphalt base to put it back down on the street. We use a recycled asphalt for the lower tier and then a pure asphalt top. So we lay 1.5 inches of recycled and then 1.5 inches of virgin asphalt. And we've been doing this for about the last 8 years.
Okay, so that's where I'm a little confused, because in the actual information, it shows that if we have two prices, one for $630 and one for $479.
Right.
The $479 being recycled, is that
That is,
full
yeah,
recycled?
that is, if we use 100% recycled, that would be the total cost of just the asphalt itself, yes.
I understand.
Just a comment, there's quite a fair amount of a range there in the quotes, but I know we've used Iowa before, so there's no problem with their...
No, I actually, when the bids come in, we've seen a reduction of over $10 a ton on the asphalt. We also seen a pretty good reduction in the price to have the manholes modified because we laid down new asphalt. So there was a pretty good reduction in price. Very fortunate.
Okay, how far is this and how wide are we doing on this? That's all I have left.
Say it again, please.
How long? Is it 7 blocks? Is this 10 blocks? Is it a mile long? Doesn't say. And how wide are we doing it? Is this 25 feet wide?
Well, a lot of times it varies in your street width. Some streets are 24 wide, but they also may have a 30-inch gutter pan. We don't usually overlay gutter pans. So your average will be from 24 feet to sometimes 30 feet wide.
Okay, that's fine.
That's throughout the city, right, Randy?
And that is throughout the city, yes.
Much per-
It'll be over 1.5 miles of roads will be the total footage.
Randy, it's as you guys outline it in the budget session, pretty much, isn't it? I mean, you've got
Yes,
it all.
yes. Yeah, I had all the preliminary stuff done for budget time, and then we had taken a couple streets off. Power and Water wants to put a new water service on Halstead. I didn't want them to tear up brand new asphalt, so we were going to carry that over to next year. And then they also want to put a new water service over off of Fillmore and Howard, and I did not want to, like I said, we didn't want to break up brand new asphalt. So we're just going to carry those over. We took them off, and then we substituted a couple streets in our West Hill sewer project that was not going to get concrete. So we added those to that to get that cost back up. There's still money there if you would decide to do more streets. I would be glad to put together an outline of that would take us up to that full amount if you want to spend that much.
Okay, so just for entertainment purposes for me, when you say recycled, if we did full recycled, does it look not as black? Is it not as clear? Is it not
actually is darker. It's a darker black color because you're using your oil and things from your old asphalt. So when they don't add quite as much oil back, to me it looks like a burnt color of black.
Okay.
We have several streets where we've tested that in the last few years, both lower and upper layers with full recycled asphalt, and one of them is the bottom of Woodlawn Hill. It's really held up well. We could do both layers if the council directs me to do that.
I'm just wanting to look at it. I don't understand why, it's not a huge difference, but it is 160,000, and I don't know if I saw the two different ones, I wouldn't know which one's which. That's why I didn't know if there was an actual physical differences. Why there is.
And they actually can use recycled shingles. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that they can do, but we've had very good luck with recycling our own asphalt.
And your opinion is to go with new?
To me, I like the recycled asphalt on the bottom layer and then the virgin on top.
Okay, thank you.
One other question then, as a follow-up to your remark about spending maybe some remainder of the amount. When would we have to decide by? I mean, the season goes into what, November or something?
Well, on the bid opening, Nancy and I had talked with Cleveland project's coming up, and we don't know where that bid's going to come in at. So we would like to wait until that bid comes in to see how much money would be left to be able to put toward, if we could get toward that full amount.
Okay, all right.
Cleveland is a full concrete rebuild, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Different process altogether.
Yeah, but
It's all money.
maybe it's money. though.
It's just money.
Thank you, Randy. Tom, how do you vote?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Santos? Scott?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11C, presented for City Council's consideration as a resolution accepting completed work for the Mad Creek Dredge Line Extension Project and authorizing final payment. The contract for this project was awarded to Salzberger Excavating on March 5th, 2015, in the amount of $75,000. Change orders for the project totaled $17,552.50 for a final contract amount of $92,552.50. It is staff's recommendation City Council accept the completed work for this project and authorize final payment to the contractor. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Thank you, Alan. Is there a second?
Second.
Tom? Any discussion?
Please. Randy, you're comfortable. Could I ask you a question? I know this project is a one-off, not an annual thing. And the rock that was put on the small boat harbor this year is not an annual expense. I don't know how often you have to do it.
That'd be John.
I don't do that. That would be Rich Climbs'.
Okay,
You're
it'll
talking
wait.
about the riprap?
Yeah, riprap. Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often.
Just wondering how much we spent this year down there. Thank you.
Your Honor, I have a question for John, if you would. John, could you review for us the change orders that totaled $17,000?
Certainly. We had 3 change orders. They all had to do with the railroad. We ran into some problems with, first of all, just the insurance that was required and what they were going to ask us to do. Having flaggers out and everything else along those lines. And then we got to digging, and we found at the end of it, they had used chunks of concrete to build their base. We were planning on boring through that, and you can't bore through that. Not the way we had intended anyway. So we went deeper, And the deeper you go, the more digging, the more time, and that was the first change order. And then they got to the bottom, and it was still concrete riprap, and we said either we abandon this and go somewhere else, or we put in a 30-inch pipe as opposed to the 10. And we could do that. So we put the 30-inch pipe in it, put the, through underneath, and that bored through, and we got it done. And that was where the extra expense came from on those.
Just a curiosity question, you can get a 30-inch pipe through, but not a 10?
Yeah.
Different process?
Well, you can, because you can push through, and you can actually have a guy crawl back in there and pull that rock out. You can't get a guy small enough to go through a 10-inch pipe to pull the concrete through. And the chunks were too big to pull back through the pipe. So when you're actually boring, you're actually pulling sediment through the pipe as well. And those pieces were so big that we had to get a 30-inch pipe to actually get that material to pass back through.
So then you tie that 30-inch to the 10-inch?
The 10-inch just goes right through
Just
it.
right through the
Yeah.
30 then?
Which is kind of cool if you actually need something again.
Well, yeah, you
From
got,
the other side, we can just expose that, and you got plenty of room
so
to
you
put
got a
it.
30-inch sleeve underneath, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Who
So
got to crawl in there and pull that stuff out?
I didn't ask. It wasn't me, so that's all I know.
Is it Mullen?
Well, thanks to them, whoever it was.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Any further discussion? If not, Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Santos? Resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11D. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution setting a public hearing on proposed zoning changes for 1409 Wisconsin Street, which was formerly Garfield School. The property owners are requesting to rezone the 7.41 acre parcel from R3 Single Family Residential to S2 Institutional Office and M1 Light Industrial. Prior to any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. This hearing will take place on Thursday, July 7th, 2016, at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Tom? Mike, do you want a second?
Fine, thanks, second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Tom, how do you vote?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Santos?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11E. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request from Public Works to accept the low bid for a new dump truck. 4 bids were received, with the low bid from Truck Country of Davenport in the amount of $89,958. There is $145,000 budgeted for this purchase. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Any second?
Second, Your Honor.
Any discussion?
Yes. Is this the chassis or the chassis on the box?
This is just the chassis itself. When we budget, being that it comes out of roadway maintenance, we budget for the chassis and the dump body. But what I've been doing over the last few years is we've had difficulty in the past with somebody putting a dump body on and then another company putting a snow plow on. So our dump body, our snow plows, underbody plows, wing plows, we did bid that out as an equipment line where it's all or nothing. And those bids come in, we just haven't got them processed yet to bring it to council yet.
Is the old box unusable?
The old truck is a 1994 International with over 300,000 miles on it. No, sir, it's not. It's full of
Box
rust.
is shot, okay. What brand are you buying?
It is a Freightliner.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
That sounds pretty smart.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request is approved with all ayes. 11F. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to accept the low bid for the 2016 street striping contract. 2 bids were received, with the low bid from Weichert Contracting of Ackley, Iowa, in the amount of $60,417.45. There is $58,000 budgeted for this project. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Phil. Is there a second?
Second.
Scott? Any discussion?
Just a question for someone. Why the big difference in quotes? Why the big difference in quotes, quote levels?
In the street striping?
Yeah,
I don't know.
okay.
The second bid that we had received was the first-time bid from a company out of Iowa City. And usually when it comes down to those bids, you're talking sometimes a half a cent per foot. The low bid was at 13 cents a foot, the second bid was at 21 cents a foot.
Woo.
So that's why there was a big difference there.
20 cents.
And then if there was a question on the amount, the reason that it didn't come in more, this is the first year that we will be painting Cedar Street in Colorado with the 3 lanes and all the changes that we've made over those 2 new streets.
And my question was more of the disparity in quotes, not,
Yeah, okay.
or not so much the
Have we
amount.
used them before?
Pardon?
Have we used this?
Yes,
group?
we've used this company the last 2 years.
So Randy, real quick, before you leave, when you reach out to these companies for bids, do we just publicly put them on our website?
We do, yes, sir.
We never let them know this is coming up? Or, hey, we're gonna be reaching
Well,
out?
usually what I like to do is, it's getting harder and harder to find paint stripers. We used Peterson parking lot over in Illinois for quite a few years, and they can't seem to compete, so they don't send us a bid. We send them a bid, but we don't get it back.
Okay.
And then we've also used Dennis parking lot out of Des Moines. They don't want to come this far for what we have to spend, so.
But when we even, like when you did the chassis for the truck, do we reach out to certain vendors that we believe that can fit the needs for us, or do we still just put that up on our
No,
website,
no, no,
wait
no,
for
no,
somebody
no.
to do
I
that?
usually contact the vendors before I write the specs to make sure that everybody can bid to our truck and get the opportunity to do
So
so.
they, okay, so we're not just waiting for somebody to hopefully bid on this and,
No.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request is approved with all ayes. 11G, presented for City Council's consideration as a request from the Fire Department to approve the ambulance fee schedule. Ambulance charges are reviewed annually and changed in accordance with Wellmark's maximum allowable fee. If approved, the new fee schedule will become effective July 1, 2016. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request is approved with all ayes. 11H, presented for City Council's consideration is a request from the Fire Department to approve hazmat agreements. Muscatine currently has 5 signed 28E agreements for hazmat coverage for Muscatine, Louisa, Keokuk, Henry, and Washington counties. The new agreement's only change is to the compensation, which changes it from a flat fee to 25 cents per capita. Total revenue from these 5 agreements is $26,623, which is an increase of $15,823. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? I would say we talked about this at the EMA meeting, and it makes perfect sense. Jerry did a lot of work, and I think the increase is very well within the range.
You didn't try to go to 30 cents, did you?
Could very well have, looking at the parameters. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request is approved with all ayes. 11I, presented for City Council's consideration as a request to approve the City of Muscatine's insurance renewal effective July 1, 2016. The primary package lines of coverage which will be renewed with ICAP. There are no recommended changes to the city's coverage, and the ICAP lines of coverage are within the budgeted amounts. It is the insurance company's recommendation to renew workers' compensation coverage with the Iowa Municipalities Workers' Compensation Association. It is also recommended that coverage for the Housing Authority be renewed with HAI Group, who has carried the insurance for the Housing Department for the past 3 years. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request is approved with all ayes. 11J, presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve a professional services agreement for the wastewater treatment nutrient study. This study is required under the new city discharge permit issued by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. Stanley Consultants has submitted a professional services agreement proposal for this project in the amount of $74,900. There is $75,000 budgeted for this mandated study. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second, Your Honor.
Any discussion?
A quick, well, I don't know if it'd be a quick question, but what all are they studying and what information will they provide back?
Well, this is one of the new studies that the DNR has come up with for the nutrient reduction strategy that they came out with a few years ago. And they propose that we study the discharge of the plant for nitrogen and phosphorus for about a year or so. We take all of our past data, crunch it together, tell them where we're at. They study the engineering possibilities of what we can do to reduce that. So it's a real engineering study with design concepts and everything else involved to say we can get down to this level, hopefully below 10 nitrogen and 1 phosphorus. Then we propose that to the state, and they say, you know, go for it, start it. And so there's a lot involved in all that, you know, dealing with the DNR. We're going to have negotiations. You can actually negotiate with the DNR on this as well, which is kind of nice. It's been a really open dialogue with them for that.
So the state is looking potentially for us to try to reduce those discharge?
We will have to reduce our discharges, yes. We are not currently under the levels that they are requiring, so we will have to do something to reduce. They're just not mandating what that is, which is good, because not everybody, every plant in the state can come up with the same answers, you know. Some of these small lagoon systems, for instance, just are not going to be able to afford it. You know, these little communities can't do that. So our answers will be different than other communities, and the DNR is willing to work with us.
So one of the things Stanley will provide is how they might suggest that we do the reduction, engineering-wise.
Correct. Which technologies are available and which ones will fit with our plant and which ones are reasonable cost-wise and engineering-wise for us to be able to install and to apply to our plant.
So the engineering firm that designed our last major $18 million change, or 16.5 or whatever, did they not want to bid on this?
The professional services agreement, we don't put that out for bids. Those are designs that we have leeway to choose who we want to have bid on that.
Yeah.
You can't possibly know the answer to this, John, but do you have a wild guess or a range of what it might cost to remedy our problems?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's anywhere from $600,000 to $3 million, somewhere in there. I mean, there's very little we could do, and maybe, you know, retro some things that we currently have that would take very little work to do. Probably not. For nitrogen, we could probably do it. For phosphorus, that's a lot more tricky. There's a lot more science and biology involved and different things that we have to do to actually get that to work.
Where's the phosphorus coming from? It's not all coming from laundry soap, is it?
No, it just comes naturally out of just the normal waste stream of people. Comes from your personal hygiene products, shampoos, soaps, anything else like that. I know they take phosphorus out of laundry soap, but there's other phosphorus types of material that just kind of comes in naturally. It's not a lot, but it's an impact when it hits the environment when it goes back out. So
You mentioned 10 for nitrogen and something for phosphorus. What was the?
these are 1 milligram per liter phosphorus and 10 milligrams per liter discharge of nitrogen. Currently, we can discharge about 2 to 6 parts per million or milligrams per liter of phosphorus, bringing it down from somewhere in the 8 to 10 range. So we are reducing some, and it changes. But our nitrogen coming in is 25 or higher most of the time, and we can get it down below 10 most of the time.
Do any of our large users, do we know what they're sending us?
No, it's not, we haven't really identified any particular one industrial user that sends more of anything else. These are really very normal domestic levels of nitrogen and phosphorus. Actually, rather low, actually. There's, you move to Iowa City, you're going to find a lot more, just because of the industry they have there.
Phil mentioned the prior consultant, but when they were, designing the plant, this wasn't even on the regulatory horizon, was it?
Well, it was, they just didn't know what it was going to be. So it's very hard to design for something when you don't want to design it and then have somebody tell you that, well, that wasn't what we wanted. And now you've spent $10 million on something that they didn't want. And that's kind of what they're trying to avoid as well. They don't want us to spend all this money and have it not be something that's going to work. And they're willing to work with us and let us kind of move through this. So this should hopefully be a 4 to 5 year process. This isn't something that's going to have to happen right away. And they're going to hopefully give us some time, especially because we just did do, $17 million SRF. Hopefully they'll give us a little extra time to work on that. So.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
We appreciate your help tonight. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Request is approved with all ayes. Moving on to our last agenda item, communication from council members. Scott, do you have anything tonight?
I don't, Mayor, thank you.
Bob?
Yes, Mayor, that, a couple of things. This past week when I was downtown, I received several comments about the parking meters. They held up $10 parking tickets. Nancy, would you like to explain what might be happening?
Sure. This is, the one Bob's talking about is in Lot 4, which is along Mississippi Drive between Sycamore and Cedar. And that lot, we're doing some, using part of it now for staging for the CDBG project. So we're taking up about 17 spaces, using it for staging. It's been blocked off, so it's kind of changed where people normally park there. We are, the tickets Bob's talking about are people parking in people's lease spaces. We haven't changed the location of the lease spaces. I think we've just shifted where people were normally parking. So there has been, my meter attendants have told me that there's been a lot more tickets issued. Some of those spaces that's being, I think it was a total of about 17 we're blocking off now. That was a combination of the free 3 hours, which we've relocated, and then handicap we're relocating, and some of the 10-hour meters are just not available because of the staging of the project. So that has changed. People have to, they can no longer do the loop through the lot. They have to come back out the same way. So it's kind of disrupted what they're used to down there. But we haven't changed that they were leased parking spaces beforehand.
But the leased spots all have signs on them, numbers or something?
Well, they're numbered. There's big signs. We don't have a sign for each space. That would be unsightly if nothing else. But
Nancy, if this continues, what's your opinion of maybe trying to improve communication in that lot? Maybe describing each one of those spaces a little bit better so that they don't get the $10 ticket?
we can look at that, but other than putting a sign on each space, it's hard to communicate to everybody. We do get calls regularly in our office if somebody's in my leased parking spot, and when they pay to have a leased spot and there's somebody in it, they're not happy either. But I'll look through it. I'll go down there and drive through and see if I can see anything that can be helpful to people. But I think any time there's a change, it just takes a while for people to get used to it.
You just tow them then? If someone calls and say, there's somebody in my space?
We try not to. We'll give them a ticket, and then, especially if If it's somebody out of town, we're reluctant to tow them the first time they do it. But we do keep a list of who's parking in other people's leased spaces, and we have towed before, but usually we'll wait a couple hours at least to see if they move before we tow.
Oh, that's
But they do get tickets.
more than reasonable.
In
you.
particular, to the area you're talking about, Counselor Bynum, is a temporary situation, and that section is being done first before we move over to between Sycamore and Iowa. This is the parking lot she was just describing. It's down off from Sycamore, and it's temporary. It's not more than 4 to 6 weeks, probably, at the most.
I'm just stating that, put
Yeah.
yourself into their shoes. Our parking meter ladies have stated that there has been an increase. The reason for that increase has not been talked about or communicated with the public.
Are you saying that we've increased the ticket prices? Is that the,
I'm saying that the number of parking tickets have increased this past week.
yeah.
Yeah, and again, the change, the other thing we've noticed recently is that, you know, for a while, we had a lot of unleased lease spaces. The demand for lease spaces has also increased, so there's
Right.
getting fewer and fewer spaces that are available if people want to lease them.
But if the people that have been using that lot, they know which spots are leased and which ones are 10-hour and which ones are 3-hour free and so forth, and you didn't take away any leased, you closed off some of the spots. You didn't change anything other than you closed off a few. And I guess I don't see that there's a major problem. If they're gonna park in a leased spot, then they need to get a ticket.
There's just less spaces for people to park in.
Yeah. But they can go across the river or the railroad tracks, not across the
I
river.
think about-
bit of a walk there. That'd be a big jump.
About 17 spaces
17 spaces less.
unavailable
less
now, and
spaces.
we'll probably, my rough count is that 8 of those will go back in. Some of them won't go back in because of the bio cell that's being put in as part of the project.
Very good.
Nancy, if there's a,
John tutored me on what it was called.
if somebody is parked in a leased space, what do you advise the owner of that space to do? I mean, does he park in a metered spot and not get a ticket, or?
When they call in, if we have a available space, we'll say, go ahead for today, park in space number X.
Okay,
And then in full lots, lot 8, we've had them park in an area by the dumpster that's not really a parking space, but we do accommodate them until the person leaves, yeah.
please.
So where's lot 8?
Lot 8 is the old
First National?
Drive-In,
So
yeah.
between the dumpster and the city's building, you don't give them a ticket if you tell them to park there?
We tell them to park there, but if they decide to park there, they get a
Because you
ticket.
gave me a ticket. Twice.
Bob, did you have anything else?
Mayor, I do have, thank you, Nancy, for
Thank you.
explaining that. Within the Fourth Ward, this next couple of weeks, at the cemetery stairs, the people now have got permission to start cleaning the side of the hill, as well as pouring concrete. The very first time of construction is going to be on July 1, about 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So they'll get a crew in there and start cutting branches and things of that nature, and cleaning up leaves, and they'll finish the project, which I might add is an Eagle Scout project. So they'll finish it on July 4th. More information to come. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Bob. Alan, do you have anything?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Santos?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Phil?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Tom?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Mike?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Dave?
Just wanted to mention that we actually have a new DPW director starting on the 20th. I want to take this time to publicly thank Christie for stepping up these last roughly 6 months. And I just wanted to make sure you knew that we appreciated her assistance and help. And she didn't shy away from anything except going to that podium, it seemed like.
Shy away from the podium.
So that's the only thing I wanted to mention.
Thanks, Dave. And the only thing that I have is I wanted to remind everyone about Coffee with the Mayor. The next one is June 25th in Ward 4 at Fire Station Number 2 at 9 in the morning on June 25th. Love everyone to come. And then next week, unless it's changed, will be a special meeting here in council chambers to discuss Councilman Spread's recommendation to change the city code and remove appointment authority for boards and commissions from the mayor to the council, and remove hire and fire authority for the chief of police and the fire chief from the mayor to the city clerk. If anyone would like to come, you're welcome to come to that next week. Thank you, and do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Alan. Good evening.